Stonemeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in the game, Skyrise. Skyrise is a really pleasant surprise for me. I expect great things from Roxley Studios, and I got to play a friend's copy, his Kickstarter copy, recently of Skyrise, which I'll show you on my other screen here. Let's see, there we go. This is an auction game with a few really, really clever twists to it. The biggest of which is that it is a spatial auction game. So each player has buildings. So this is the fancy Kickstarter version. The non-Kickstarter version has wooden buildings. They still look really nice. But on the bottom of each building is open information numbers. So numbers that are not repeated in the game. So I have a building with number 54 in it. There is no other instance of 54 in this game. If I am participating in an auction, say that I start an auction, I could take this building. I could take any of these buildings if I wanted, but in particular, I'll take this 54 and I'll put it somewhere on the map. And you can see it up here where there are these different spaces that you're trying to gain control of on the map simply by bidding on it. So I'm putting a token on, say, this space to say I want to win this territory, this portion of the map, this district. When I do that, all other players can pass, or another player can place a building that has a higher value of theirs and place it adjacent to the district where I placed my building. And this continues around the table until everyone has passed, essentially. But oftentimes what happens is I might come back in on the bid on another adjacent location. So you're always going adjacent to the previously bidded on location until everyone passes, and then you win the auction. This inherently is just really, really interesting, the spatial auction concept. So it's combining a standard auction, you're outbidding someone else, with a spatial element to try to get to a territory or a district that you really, really, really want. And over the course of the game, whenever everyone passes and someone wins the territory. So for example, this red player, they won this territory. They flipped their building over, so the numbers are no longer showing, and they have control of that. And that territory, that district is blocked off from then on. No one can bid on it. It is Red's, in this case, Red's territory. Because of the spatial element, this creates another interesting dynamic, which is that during an auction, you can end up positioning yourself in such a way, because you're only auctioning on adjacent districts to the previously bidded on district. So if I place this 54, you have to bid adjacent to that district. If there is no adjacent district, then no one can bid on it, and I just win that district. So if I find like a little corner of the map where it's surrounded by other buildings that people have already won those districts, I can bid on that corner and win it instantly because no one else can bid on it. Or I can maybe try to string together a few different auctions so that I end up in a corner and I can bid on a territory, no one else can bid on it. So the spatial element does some really, really cool things that evolves over the course of the game as more and more districts are occupied by buildings. Just a really, really clever concept there. Two other little things that I thought were pretty clever that are related to this auction. One is that every player has a special monument. I think it's called a monument. And these do nothing in the first half of the game. So the first half of the game, players have a specific set of buildings that they use. And when any player places their last building from era 1, then era 2 begins. And in era 2, every player gets a new set of buildings or another set of buildings. They're fairly similar to the ones that you have, but with different numbers on them. And you begin era 2. The game is over when all players get rid of all of their buildings. So no players will end up with a building in their supply. So you can either wait until later in the game to bid on a bunch of things, or you can bid earlier on things that you really want and try to win those auctions. But I like that the game is divided into these two eras so that you don't have too many choices early in the game. You're limited to a set of buildings that looks like this. And in the second half of the game, you also get a unique monument that has a unique ability that you choose midway through the game. I thought that was clever too, that you're not giving players too much choice early in the game when they're just getting into they're learning the game, or they're figuring out what their strategy for this game is. They get that midway through the game. The last little clever thing, and you can't quite see it here, but whenever you win a territory, each district, I keep saying territory, each district has two different benefits. One is that you get to put your building there permanently. The other one is that you get to pick up a token from that territory. You see these randomly placed tokens from the territory, and you put them on your little player mat here. And what these do, let's say if the game ended right now for this player, you can see there's a yellow token here, yellow token here at the 3 value. And what this means is that every building you have placed in a yellow district, because yellow here, is worth 3 points. This track goes 2, 3, 4, 6, and then 4. I actually think, I can't remember, this first row may already be pre-populated at the beginning of the game, but at 2, 3, 4, 6, and then 4, and then plus 10. This is really interesting track design, because one way to play is you can try to get up to 6. So focus on a specific color, focus on winning auction districts of a certain color, and get up to 6, so that every building in the, say green is stretching there. Every building I have in a green district is worth 6. But if I happen to win one more, that changes the value proposition down. It doesn't go up, it goes down to 4. And so I'm trying, at that point, precision is important. I'm trying to get exactly 6, not more than 6. Or if I do go over, then every building is worth, or every token, every building is still worth 4, but every additional token that I get, that every additional green token I get is worth 10. So just a really interesting dynamic here of, do I stop at 6, or do I go all in and try to get as many green tokens as possible, because I get that plus 10 bonus for every green token that can't even fit on my track. It's really interesting track design. As you can tell, I had a lot of fun with this game. It caught me off guard a little bit, I think, because I think I played a few games that have kind of grid-based auctions, not as spatial as this one, that didn't quite do it for me. But this one, I really enjoyed Skyrise. The spatial auction, the track design, the way it onboards players, and then it offers this great era 2 in the second half of the game. Really clever combination of mechanisms. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you played this game, or if you played another game with a spatial auction mechanism, let me know in the comments below. Thanks.